Hi, everyone. It's Kim. Thanks for joining me. Karen Burniston has a new release out, which I am always so excited to play with. And this release has 10 new dies and 5 new stamp sets. Two of the dies are mechanical or interactive dies. One of them we'll take a look at is kind of in a group by itself, but the rest of them are all decorative dies and they all work with previous releases. And that's what I love about Karen's collections. It's not a one and done. We can go back and pull out other dies that we have in our stash. So I want to start with this one, and I'm just using it as a card front because I understand that not everybody is into the interactive dies. I love them, but I get that if that's not your thing. The decorative dies can be used on their own for just a card front or inside of a card. So that's where I want to start today. This one has some great icons. So the movie night charms, look at that. Great set. And this is going to work great with the popcorn set that we had previously. So once again, whether we want to use it with this as a pop-up or these on their own flat, we can do that. I just again made a card front, just using all those icons that we think about going to the movies. And then to fill in my little frames here, I went into my stash and I pulled out the stamp from All and Create, Stan and Ollie. Their heads fit pretty good into those little frames. So I thought this is just a fun set to play with. I could make up all these icons and use them all at once. So again, if you've got the popcorn set that you can make up the inside where the popcorn box pops up, or you can use these flat in conjunction with the new movie night charms. We've got some options there. And I've made this before, the popcorn pop-up box, so I didn't repeat it for this one, but easy enough to do. And then there is a stamp set. Now, I don't have the stamps yet, long story short, but they're in for me now, and I just need to go pick them up. But this is what the stamps look like, so you can take a quick look at those. And there's some great ones there that I could use like on the inside for this card. So another one, I want to show you one of the mechanical ones. And I'm just going to do this, and then we'll take a look at the two new die sets for this. I can turn this wheel, and you can see that one of my graduation caps pop up out of the card, move around. Fun, fun, fun. So let me show you the two new dies for this, and we're going to talk about this little piece here. The mechanical part of this is called Whirly Wheel, and I'm going to turn it over so you can see the backside because this has the unicorn, which is also a new die, but I did not use it with that. So I'm using it with the new graduation elements. So you've got my hat that pops up, the banner, and then the dresses and the caps, the cap and gown, I guess I should say, for my people. And the people are from that great paper people set. So again, something that we have now, we can dress our people in a cap and gown. And if you wanted to, it didn't want the cap and gown, this would work just fine as a dress without everything added on to it. And two sizes of caps, which I used both from this set. Oh, I didn't do the diploma. Oh, I should have put the diploma on there. But one thing I did want to do with my people again is I want to try to use them in different ways. So here's my original person, how they stand. You can dress them and they stand. This gal's pretty much the same way, but I have her holding her cap. This time I thought I'm going to have this guy holding his cap. So I cut the arm here by up at the top here by his shoulder and pulled his sleeve out. But then the way this is cut, I needed to fill that in. So I just put a piece of the paper back in there. And I'm not sure if you can see that little cut out there, but it gives, he doesn't have a cutout in his gown. He now has a full gown with a back piece in there. So if you want to alter these and you need to change something on the outfit, that's easy enough to do. One thing I do like to do with these mechanical dies, and I'm doing more and more of, is I make it up just in a piece of white cardstock, and then I'm going to keep this in here because then when I want to play with it, I can do that. I have it at the ready. Karen, again, has a wonderful video, so I encourage you to watch it, especially for this one. Not hard, but she does show one thing real interesting. This little sleeve, how you can move this around, and this kind of holds and controls this arm. And I'm just going to hold that down there. And I'm not sure how well you can see this, but you can kind of see that arm. I should have made the arm a different color. Can go up, and it's controlled by this sleeve, but depending on where it is and kind of what angle it may be at, that controls what that arm does. So again, if this is something you're interested in, watch Karen's video. It's, again, not a hard die to put together, but I think there's going to be a ton of uses for this. And I've already started a list of ideas so I don't forget, hey, I want to try this and this and this with this die set. This has 2 stamp sets that we can use with it. One is called Whirly Wheel Words. So that goes with the Whirly Wheel die. And you can see how there's a stamp to stamp all these arrows on, or you can use the cutouts from the die, which I did with a marker since I don't have the stamps yet. But you could see what words are on that. And then there is also one for the graduation. This is called Grad Greetings, to go with this die set, the graduation elements. Again, some fun ones on this. I love this look at you, educated and stuff. Just something different, something fun, and a little more lighthearted than the traditional graduation sentiments. So another great stamp set to use in conjunction with the graduation elements. And then the great old Whirly Wheel. We're going to see this one a lot again because, like I said, I have a list of ideas that came to mind. I'm like, oh, I've got to try it with that. So let me show you this one. This one uses the second mechanical die. And this is a birthday theme. And I went back and pulled out some of her older dies. So if some of those look familiar, that's why. But look at this pop-up with all those balloons. If that wouldn't be a fantastic card to get, happy birthday, and balloons like crazy on that arch. So the mechanical part is called the arch pop-up. And you can see how they use the balloons here. Once again, I have done this so I can play with this, and you can see what it looks like, the base die, what it looks like and how it works. Again, it's not hard to do. And here's some options. You don't have to use all these extra pieces. You can use just the arch by itself, and we're going to look at that in a minute. Or you can go all out, have all these different layers like I did with the balloons using this. So I will keep this with the die, and I have used this in a couple of other samples I'm going to show you just to see if my idea would work. So in conjunction with the arch pop-up and all these balloons, another new die set is called Party Balloons. So there's some flat balloons, and then there's some that are like 3-dimensional here. This one's a good one to show you how it goes back and forth. And those may look familiar to you because you might think, like I did, oh, I've got some balloons, the balloon collage add-ons. And Karen does talk about this when she shows you how to put together this arch pop-up. There are some differences between the 2 balloon sets. If you have both of them, think how many balloons you can cut out all at once. But if you have this one, you can use just this one for the arch. It works, but there are a few differences and a few different sizes of balloons in there as well. Excuse me. So 2 new dies with that, and let me show you some of the older dies that I use because, again, I can go back and mix and match. My cupcakes are in the cupcake add-on, and because I have so much going on the inside, I thought I need to keep the outside simple. So there's my cupcake add-ons for the outside of my card, plus those little ribbons are from this set as well. And then on the inside, happy birthday from Karen's word set 2 birthdays dies. I use that one all the time. And then one little minor detail, I only had this one piece of paper that I wanted to use for this card, and it wasn't big enough to cover both sides of the card base. So I used it in the center, and then I thought I'll just put a decorative strip along the edge. And when I went back through my stash, I have this 3D embossing folder from Spellbinders that's nothing but balloons. I don't think you can probably see that very well there on the plastic, but that was perfect to emboss a piece of paper and then just cut some strips to finish covering my card base. And again, another new stamp set. This one is called Birthday Magic. And I'm going to point one out here that talks about glitter and unicorns. So that's going to work with another stamp set that another die set that we're going to see here very shortly. So I kind of got sidetracked with this arch and kind of just went crazy with it. So let me show you what else I did. This is when I really started to play, and then I couldn't quit playing until I just ran out of time. So let me show you this one. This one uses the rainbow die set. And again, some of those dies are going to look familiar to you that I pulled out from the past. So the rainbow add-ons is how I used this with just the arch. I didn't use all these other pieces. So all I had to do was the arch piece. All of these other pieces I did not use. I say that, and then I'm going to stop myself because I did use one of these little side pieces here, and I did modify that kind of on the fly. That's this piece here, and it sticks out. You can see how far that sticks out, and I didn't want my little pot of gold sticking out that far. So we'll talk about modifications in the future because I truly just kind of did it on the fly to make it work. Another new set that she has is the curved edges. And this also works very well with the whirly wheel because you can see how it's curved. So if you want to do something with the whirly wheel, it's great to use in conjunction with that, or you can use it on its own. So you can see how I have a curved hill. I just use the grass there. Same thing on the front. I have that little curved grass. And then here is the clouds. So the clouds can be used in a couple different ways. You can see how I just have like an edge of clouds on the packaging. But then Karen shows how you can use the one die and make like a puffy cloud. So that's what I did there. And then on the inside, I will make another puffy cloud and stamp it. And we'll look at the rainbow stamps in just a minute. I decided to make mine a gift card holder. Maybe somebody could find their pot of gold in the card. And then the last two dies that I use, which probably may look familiar to you, are the Good Luck Charms and the Gnome and Santa. So I can make my little character there with the Gnome and Santa. And then the Good Luck Charms is my pot of gold and all the shamrocks and this little guy's hat. So once again, it was great to be able to pull that old die set out and use with the new rainbow die set as well. Now, when we take a look at the stamps, this will give you some other ideas. You don't certainly have to use it just with a pot of gold. And one of them on here is for a pet sympathy card, which I thought was a great use for this. Sorry for your loss, and then forever loved, forever missed, waiting at the rainbow bridge. So I think a lot of people can identify with the loss of a pet and, going over the rainbow bridge. So this stamp set is ideal for a sympathy card for a pet. And then you can get some other ideas on how to use it birthday or just to brighten someone's day. And of course, you can make your rainbow any kind of color that you want. Maybe you want a rainbow all in pinks or blues or something. So some options there and some different uses. But I love pulling out my shamrocks and doing something along that line with the rainbows. Okay, so the next two cards I want to share with you are more kind of like experiments. So I didn't do anything on the outside. I just wanted to experiment and play on the inside. So I haven't decided how I'm going to use this card, but I, again, wanted to play. This is just using the arch. And this time I pulled out the monkey and the lion because I wanted to see kind of how I could dangle things off that arch. And the other thing, let's see, you can see on the back. Let me show you on the back before I forget how that's kind of like you see all the holes and everything. There is a die in the set that allows you to finish off the back. So you see how nice that looks? It's just like the rainbow, or it's just like the arch die, except it's a little smaller. And it's in the rainbow set. Let me pull that out. I'm sorry. It's in the rainbow set. So there's a solid piece that's a little smaller than the arched piece here, but that you can cut this out and cover up the front or the back. So in the one card I just showed you, I covered up the back, but on this one, I used that piece from the rainbow add-ons to make a solid front so I don't have all those holes showing. And I could do the same thing on the back. I just didn't do that on this one, but I could do the same thing so I wouldn't see any of those holes or flaps. And I just decided I'm going to see what I can hang off of this arch. And this time I did use those two pieces, kind of like a leg that comes out. And you could see how large it is on this one. Now, the other thing you have to remember is when you close it, that everything fits inside your card. And I'm going to I have some other palm trees because I'd like to do something else over here. But when I lay this down, like if this was going to come down and pick it up, it's outside my card base. So that's one thing I have to be aware of and kind of position things right. Get them in the right size. I was thrilled that all my monkeys could hang off there. It closes and is within the card base. So I just need to work on the trees. And then I can add my sentiment for whatever reason I'm going to use this card for. But again, just playing, what else can we do with that arch? And for my trees, this is just going back again. The Beach Bar Tiny House add-ons is where I got my trees from. And I think I have another die from Karen that has some other palm trees. So I'm going to be pulling that out and taking a look at that. So just hopefully that gives you some ideas maybe of dies that you have that you can use with the arch. And then one more card with the arch and a couple new dies. And it has to do with these fishing lures. So the fishing lure charms, obviously you can use those on their own. They make a great front. I mean, those hooks are pretty wicked looking. And this one, I thought I need to get my specialty cardstock out for these lures because they always kind of have like a shimmer to them. But on the inside, then I thought, well, that pairs great with my fishing boat. And I decided to make that arch out of clear acetate. So it just looks like the fish are jumping out of the water. You can kind of see a little bit of shine from that acetate in the light. But isn't that cool? And I wanted to see how I could combine it with the boat. Originally, I thought, oh, it would be so cool to have this arch over the boat. But unfortunately, they both need to make use of that center line. So I kind of had to modify my idea a little bit. But look at that arch. Folds perfectly into that boat. So I know that I can combine that arch with other pop-up dies. I just have to make sure that nothing collides and place everything accordingly so it doesn't crash into each other. But there's my guy, my paper person fisherman, and then the boat pop-up. And then, of course, I couldn't leave the guy without a fishing pole, so the fishing boat add-ons completed him and completed all the accessories for the boat. So again, go back and look at what you've got in your stash, either Karen's dies or maybe you have other dies you can combine these with. So another use for that arch, do it in acetate. And, you know, I think the ideas can be endless what we can do with some of these dies. Now, there's two other dies I just want to share with you, and I haven't had a chance to really play much with them. The one is leaping animals, and I did make a bunch of the animals, but I just haven't had a chance. I got so busy with the arch pop-up, I didn't have time to play with these much. We've got our dolphin, a frog, bunny, and a unicorn in here, but I was like, right now I don't have a big use for a unicorn, but I could use a beautiful horse. So I just left this little, I don't even know what that's called on a unicorn. I left that off. and instead I have a horse with a beautiful mane and tail. So we'll be looking at these guys as well. Again, they can be used with a pop-up, or they can definitely be used on their own. So that is another set. And the final set, we'll take a look at this later, is the display helpers. These help hold your cards open. So this is probably the most recent one we looked at when we had the boat or the ship, because these are so heavy. Sometimes they close in on themselves. So we can cut this out, lay it here, and put a paper clip in, and that helps hold the card open. This also has a stamp set that comes with it to explain to your recipient like where to put the paper clip. And then the other one is for like in the corner of the card. And I don't know if you can see that here, but we will definitely use these. I just want to wait until I get the stamp set in, because that gives our recipient instructions on how to pop that up or pop it down. And then again, this is for cards that are so heavy, you know, they just close on themselves. So these would fit into the corners over here. So a couple options to help keep our cards open. So lots of neat new dies in this set. And again, they combine so great with dies that Karen has already put out. And just endless inspiration here, plus the new 5 stamp sets, which I will have and be able to use next time. So I know that was a lot to look at, some wonderful videos out there. Go check out Karen's videos and her design team member samples. And I thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again in a future video.